Three generations of badass women take on a crime syndicate known simply as the Firm. Let's talk about Netflix's Gunpowder Milkshake. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It, and welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Netflix film Gunpowder Milkshake, starring a, no pun intended, murderer's row of great female talent flexing their action muscles here, including Karen Gillan from the Jumanji features, Lena Headey of Game of Thrones, Carla Gugino, Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett, and just for good measure, you've got the head of the Firm, Paul Giamatti, playing the big bad here. So before we get into this, I would encourage you to subscribe down below there to Dan Reviews It. If you are not a subscriber already, I'd love to have you aboard. And think about hitting that like button as well, and comment below. Did you see Gunpowder Milkshake? How did it grab you? It's definitely a little bit middling, according to the masses on Rotten Tomatoes. It sits tight right now at a 50% audience score. So definitely sort of a little balancing act for this film. A lot of people really digging it. A lot of people not so much. So we'll find out where I fall here in a moment. So Karen Gillan is the lead here, and she plays Sam, who we see in the first scene was just 12 when her mother, Scarlett, played by Headey, who was an assassin, was forced to abandon Sam as, you know, some things happened with this crime syndicate, the Firm. So 15 years later, Sam is now working for the Firm, and when a mission goes a bit awry, she ends up taking on the Firm with some of these other ladies I mentioned, known as the Librarians. And in the mix also is an 8-year-old girl named Emily, played by Chloe Coleman, a newcomer, who must decide who she can trust as well. So this movie is sort of, you know, the theme of this movie, or the word on the street about this movie is, oh, it's the female version of John Wick. All right, well, first of all, John Wick works alone, so I'm not sure that that is entirely apt, but I can certainly see some shades here of the John Wick series and movies like that. But, you know, this film, Gunpowder Milkshake, I feel like borrows from actually several different places. I think there's a little bit of Tarantino in there, and I think notably a movie that never gets talked about that I really loved, I think I might have even given it an A when it first came out, is this movie Shoot 'Em Up. And that also features Paul Giamatti, I think as the villain. I haven't seen it in close to 15 years since it first came out, but I think Paul Giamatti was the villain there. So that sort of adds, I think, to that whole kind of theme. But this film borrows from all of that sort of stuff, but I think does stand on its own a bit as well. I think it's actually a lot less John Wick than the movie Nobody from earlier this year, which was from a lot of the same people involved with John Wick. And that was a very good movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly with Bob Odenkirk. But this one, you know, yes, it maybe is a more girl power version of a Tarantino type movie, you know, but of course Tarantino has a lot of kick-ass women too. Kill Bill, you know, is just one example of that. But here, it's more about the camaraderie with these women. It's more about these really exciting action sequences, which I thought there were several that really had me going. They're fun to watch. The fight choreography is well done. And I think we do kind of get on board with some of these characters, at least I did. I think the biggest flaw of the movie is probably in the writing itself, and specifically of the characters and their relationships, you know, definitely with Sam and her mom, Lena Headey, who, you know, well, you know, she leaves her in the beginning of the movie, but there's more about that as the film goes on. And we don't necessarily get a whole lot of, you know, nuance there with those relationships, but also with Sam and the 8-year-old girl. I mean, we get that she's sort of trying to relive something that she didn't have, when her mother vanished when she was 12. So she's kind of trying to fill that role. We sort of get that. It's kind of obvious, but there aren't really a ton of scenes where we dive a little bit deeper into that. And that is a problem with the writing. But Gillan does a great job here. I'm not too familiar with her. I understand she's from Doctor Who, but I know her best from the Jumanji films, which she's good in, but also very funny. Here, there's not a ton of humorous moments, maybe a sly remark here or there, but we don't get a huge sense of humor in this movie. It's more about the action, and I think it succeeds in that. I mean, just that first scene where Sam's a girl, a little girl, and Karen Gillan hasn't even entered the picture yet, is very action heavy. I mean, it got me right into the moment of this movie, and like, okay, let's see what's going to happen here, with the rest of this thing. And then as we go along and introduce some of the other people, when we meet the librarians, some of my favorites in there too. I love Angela Bassett and Carla Gugino. I always enjoy, and there's a little, couple of winks and nods, I think, to previous projects as well, because Angela Bassett's character is named Anna May, and Tina Turner's real name is Anna Mae Bullock. And of course, Bassett's first really huge role, an Oscar-nominated role, was that of playing Tina Turner, aka Anna Marie Bullock, or Anna Mae Bullock rather, in What's Love Got to Do with It. So there's a couple of like tongue-in-cheek moments. Shoot 'em Up was a lot more fun than this is, for sure. And John Wick is, I think in a different kind of league. But again, I'm not sure why all the comparisons, because Wick works alone. The Equalizer, he works alone. This is, I mean, yes, Karen Gillan is the star, but this really is a group of women that are fighting here. It reminds me a little bit more, if I want to compare it to something recent like a Wick or something, is sort of that ending scene of Birds of Prey, and I won't give spoilers for that if you haven't seen it, but Harley Quinn teams up with a whole group of people to kind of kick ass the villains, and so there's shades of that here, maybe even too. So on originality, maybe this one doesn't quite light it up, but much like The Old Guard last year with Charlize Theron, which fell in the middle of summer, and gave us a really fun, exciting movie to watch. It's not quite on that level, but Netflix definitely has given us another popcorn action movie with some butt-kicking females at the helm. So I leave Gunpowder Milkshake with a B. I thought it was fun, but like I said, the rotten on audience is 50-50. So take this review with a grain of salt. You may have a very different take on the film than I did, but that's where I stood on it. I rather enjoyed it. So there you go. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you back here next time for another review on Dan Reviews It. Bye.